network and you're doing a swap on either side, you can compose that into a single transaction, and that to the end user, it just looks like I'm trading cake on BNB for ETH on Ethereum. They don't see the thing in the middle, and they don't need to.
Okay, no, so I get what you're saying, but this is the case with all the currencies basically. So yeah, we have all these fiat currencies that are all different values and numbers. They're kind of trading in the background a lot with the USD, right?
But they're not the same currency. They're all
Yeah,
different currencies. So
right.
look at Stargate as a token, right? Stargate's the same token whether you go buy it on a Phantom or you buy it on Polygon or you buy it on Arbitrum or Optimism. It doesn't matter. It's the same token and it's the same price. So how did that find parity across all those different networks? It's just
Well, I
once
don't know.
once the
I don't know about
movement, the thing that keeps it from reaching parity is the restriction of the movement across the borders, right? But once the restriction of movement across the borders becomes like just an ease, it's like it's nothing.
why.
It doesn't
Okay,
exist. It's almost like there's no friction. Then people will arbitrage them, just like Sam Bankman-Fried, if you actually believe that's his real name, flew in a private jet to Japan to buy Bitcoin and then brought it back to the U.S. to sell it. People will find the way to arbitrage the difference in those prices until they can't. And at
for
what
the
point they
same.
can't is when they're so similar that there's nothing there to extract by doing that.
Yeah, but isn't there a similarity from the get-go? Like if somebody goes to buy at one exchange and brings it to another exchange and arbitrage, like that's arbitrage. They're doing it with the same token. They're not doing it with two different tokens, right? Because the different tokens have different supplies. They have different tokenomics
Can I give
altogether.
an example? I'll
Yeah,
give you an example. So you have Bitcoin on the native chain, the Bitcoin chain, but you also have wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum. And while they're not exactly parity, they're very close to parity most of the time. They're two different tokens. They're essentially, technologically speaking, they are unrelated to each other. But yet, they follow
are
the
they?
price tracks one another very, very, very closely.
But are they? Are they not linked by Bitcoin? Some kind
That
of
might not be
Very,
the that might
very
not be the
loosely.
best
Very
example
loosely.
because that might not be the best example because you're talking about a synthetic, right? And the synthetic is redeemable for the actual token. And so you can relatively assume that it holds the value of the what it's redeemable for, right? So one's a
Exactly. And it's
coin and
very
one's a token.
loosely, very loosely related to
I
each
think
other.
Stargate's a better example because Stargate tokens. So like you get a Stargate token on Binance, it's a BEP20 token, but the Stargate token on Ethereum is an ERC20 token. But since I can move them easily from one to the other, I can just swap them one for the other because the protocol exists to allow it. And there's incentive for the liquidity providers to balance them. Then I can trade the one for the other with relatively no effort. Now that doesn't preclude there being a momentary blip where, say, I don't know, Binance Chain is has got some major flaw in it, and people are scared of Binance Chain, so everyone's trying to get out of BEP20s and they want to get into whatever else they can, and then suddenly the BEP20 version of Stargate is selling at a massive discount to every other one, right? Doesn't preclude that kind of thing, but those things will be arbitraged. People who look at the event and say, this is a non-event, I'm going to buy this discount and in mass, will take up that side of the trade. And people who say, oh my God, I got to get the hell out of Binance because I'm going to lose my ass, will sell them at a discount to the other person. And so one person's going to be right, the other person's going to be wrong. The one that's wrong, loses money. The one that's right makes money. Everybody's played their part in the transition, and then Stargate eventually just goes back to balance again, right? Problem gets resolved, or the network goes away. Maybe that token no longer exists, or the problem gets resolved, the token goes back to balance, and now they're trading at par again. It's just once I said, once the borders are kind of eliminated as far as a friction point, which is where we're going next with the cross-chain composability, then there's nothing to keep them from being arbitraged across chains. And
There is
so
one
now
thing.
well,
There's one thing that you're not putting there in the equation. It's the discrepancy between the two currencies. So exactly the same as if we look at the Japanese yen and the US dollar. The Japanese yen might have a total, market cap of a certain amount of billions, and the US has more, obviously, but nonetheless, if you just take the
yeah,
same
but
amount.
again, that's not the same thing, because you're talking about yen versus dollar, not yen versus yen, not
Right,
yen in the US against
exactly.
yen in the China, right?
Okay, but
Or US dollar in,
yes,
because
I
look at
understand.
US dollars are traded in multiple countries, right? They're
No,
all over the place.
okay, but I
And they
understand
share
that.
the same value, even though they're used in different
I
countries.
understand that. I understand that. That's not what I'm alluding to. I'm alluding to here that if you take $10 billion of US dollars and you take $10 billion worth of yen, what you'll notice is that the yen there's going to be 147 times more of them. Okay, then there's the number, right? And why? Because there's that many more printed than dollars. So what really is happening, it's not that they're worth less, those two chunks that are worth 10 billion, but the number is 140 times, 7 times bigger when
So a supply
denominated in yen.
discrepancy.
So it's a supply discrepancy. So if
But
you if you compare,
a supply discrepancy exists on Stargate too, and yet they reach par. So,
right,
one
but
network
okay,
has more use case for having more tokens, so it has more tokens.
right, but
We'll
let's
probably
say,
see a point at which tokens can literally be burnt and new ones come into existence in a different format, to where then the market could decide what supply is appropriate to what network. That probably be after we get past this whole cross-chain composability phase, which I think is the next phase we're going into with crypto.
well, in any case, the thing what you're describing could be theoretically possible. That part be possible if you would rectify the supply printing side of it. But before you rectify the supply printing side of it, I don't see how the arbitrage or Stargate is going to be able to arbitrage that. If Polygon right now, let's say there's 10 times more, 100 times more that is being printed than on the Ethereum side, unless you stop that and now you start arbitraging it, you're never going to be able to get to it if you're still having 100 times more printed. So Polygon would need to become a token of much higher value and much more expensive, kind of similar to what I was saying. If Ethereum reached the value of Bitcoin, then you could reach to some parity or close. And then, but if the printing's still going on, the Stargate arbitrage can't solve that, because they're two different coins.
To reach that conclusion, you have to assume that the difference in supply is based merely on the cost to mint. But what if the difference in supply is based on the user base? There's more users willing to mint on the Polygon chain than there is to mint on the ETH chain. What if that's the difference in the supply? So then the only thing that's going to change that ratio of users on Polygon to users on ETH is if more users of Polygon decide that it's more productive for them to spend their time on ETH. Otherwise, the supplies are proportionate to the users, and therefore they're appropriate. Now, how many
But
users are going to want to
right,
move their Polygon Zen over to ETH? It's probably going to be a small percentage, right?
Yeah, but wouldn't those users, if there's 10 times more users, wouldn't they be kind of minting 10 times more or 100 times more if it's that much cheaper? Because they're deploying whatever they're wanting to deploy. Now they're going there, but it's 10 times cheaper. So now it's 10 times 10. It's still 100 times more, the supply. Because it's still 10 times cheaper. So only if it became to parity in terms of the gas price could maybe there be any hope that Stargate could rectify the discrepancies that established themselves in the beginning, then yes, maybe over a period of time that could happen. But if the supply printing doesn't stop, I don't see that how that can happen. And the total supply is going to remain very much different, and so they'll be again exactly like the Japanese yen and the US dollar. And you can trade them back and forth. You're never going to reach parity. You know, if the Japanese yen decided to burn a whole bunch of yen and you know take that off of the market, reduce the supply, then they could reach parity.
Well, there you go. You know, you got to factor in then that both these chains have proof of burn available to them, right? They're both running on the exact same contract. They're both capable of doing the exact same thing. So those supplies can fluctuate merely by the burn. So maybe people will, you know, maybe there will be opportunities where people can trade proof of burn on one chain for tokens on another. Like, who knows?
You mean
Just thinking, yeah, just thinking long term. I actually expect that Zen on a chain like Polygon might appreciate to the point, the value might appreciate to the point where uh, it could surpass that of Zen on Ethereum. And the reason goes as follows. So essentially, we see the minting of wallets and the G ranks going up very quickly, much quicker. So on the chains that the fees are much lower, especially Polygon right now, you see that being highest. So I see that emission rate of the new Zen being minted being much quicker, and then to the point where it starts to go down much quicker than that of Ethereum. And I also see that the demand might be higher on that chain versus Ethereum, especially if Ethereum gas keeps going up. So it reaches a point where it's unusable for the masses, the 96%. So it's quite likely that 96% might prefer Zen on Polygon or any other cheaper chains versus that of Zen on Ethereum. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. That's the economic energy argument. Where is the economic energy? Where's the activity? Where are the people that have salaries and have money to bring into what blockchain? So yes, that's absolutely not only likely, it's just about certain. You know, Doge is going to have a certain amount of economic activity, and it's not going to be exactly the same as Polygon or Avalanche or Avemos. There are going to be discrepancies.
I like that thought, Ray. I actually do. And I think it's valid. And I think there's more things that we haven't even begun to think about, you know, because like use cases could arrive on Polygon that don't arrive on Ethereum, and people want to get rid of their Ethereum to get those Zana on Polygon to get whatever thing they can get over there, but they can't get over here. So there could be multiple reasons why somebody would want to move from one to the other. Just because it's the most it's the most costly to mint something on Ethereum, that's not the sole factor in creating the value, right? Like it'll be really interesting. And just to be clear, I'm not saying I know what's going to happen. I'm just postulating and speculating on what I think might happen from just what I've watched happen in the past. I don't have a crystal ball. I could be completely wrong about everything I'm saying.
Oh, but we can
Yeah,
know
but the top of the
something
curve, the 8
like
years, right? They keep talking about which one is going to hit the flat first, right?
what's that?
Well, that's another factor. It's not
Yeah.
they're so far they're not that far apart. What do we have? Max 20-day spread between them. 20-day spread on an 8,000-day period of time is not really a big deal. The other factors that derive the the amount of Zen that you can mint at a given point would probably have more play than the EAA would be my guess. Or is it the AMP? I guess it's the AMP is the 8,000 days. The EAA
It
is
has
based on
what
wallets.
the
So
Yeah, honey
variable?
deals.
Yeah,
We are talking about the top of the curve, the
yeah,
when it starts to flat line, right?
right. The
So
law.
so essentially the now we are just on what, we're less than a month into launch, right? So when now we are talking about people who are already familiar with crypto, people who are comfortable putting money in and not really understanding the long-term implications or trading them and whatever. Now, when you talk about a 96%, they have a very different mindset, right? They want to go in small. They might not trust it. They're not
Yeah,
gonna, even if you're gonna put, let's say, $10 into it, they go like, I'm not sure I want to do that. But 10 cents, who knows? Maybe Polygon is gonna. We don't know about the adoption of the 96% just yet, simply because it hasn't happened. But I'm willing to bet that the cheaper chains might be even more attractive. So we might see that difference between the Polygon adoption and Ethereum just get further and further apart over time. I think that needs to be graphed out and see to be tracked.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of factors like that come into play. Okay, like the chains themselves, and there's so many factors. But yeah, you can get down to those. I mean, Polygon. I don't know how it could handle so much. Like, couldn't it handle as much? Could it absorb? Uh, do you guys think it could absorb as much users? Polygon, that it's not an issue for gas fees and just usability, the way it's configured, because it's not the same as Ethereum, say.
Well, I'm just looking at today's numbers, right? Things can change very drastically. For example, if sharding takes off and gas prices drop over the next couple of years with Ethereum. So we don't know. Could be one of the other chains. All of these are what the people have been planning, right? The people for the various projects. But so if things continue as it is, we don't know what will happen. It could be, I think, the one with more economic energy, the chain with more economic energy could appreciate in value.
Definitely. Definitely. The way I go about it, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball either, right? So the way I go is somewhat like the trend is your friend kind of way. You can't really know more than that. So if you look at the chains and you look at the amount of money, okay, Jack won't like this, but if you look at the amount of fiat, okay, that's being invested in each of those chains, it kind of gives you a trend there for the short trend that it is, right? So it gives you an idea initially, and then you can follow that. You know, for now, Ethereum clearly has more US dollars value spent in that. It's an expression of the economic energy, that's derived from the labor of the people that are spending that. They know what they're spending, right? And they're putting it in Ethereum. And then there's, like, for example, 10 cents. Well, yeah, there'll be more people willing to put 10 cents on Polygon, but it's going to take a lot of those people. So a lot more, adoption to equate to the amount of increased adoption on Ethereum. So, but if you look at the trend, it gives you an idea. If the trend starts to clearly change, then you have time, I think, to readjust, and you could start minting more on Polygon or more on another, right? Like, kind of like following the trends. It's hard to predict. But, like Doge, I kind of felt that Doge was going to be good, and it's been doing really good, relatively speaking. but I'd have to look at the.
I don't even know where to swap coins into Doge, the DC coin on Doge.
Okay, you know, did you try?
No, I haven't, because I didn't have the time to look it up. I suppose there's some way to. There must be a centralized swap where I can swap, let's say, Ethereum into DC, right?
What do you have? Do you have any, by any chance, do you have any BNB, Binance Smart Chain?
Yeah, I have BNB.
Okay, that's perfect. So you can go to a site that's called changenow.io. And basically, just I'm sure you have enough experience to understand this quickly. You just go, you will choose your BNB and you're going to swap it into the Doge, original Doge coin. It's the Doge chain coin, but you just type Doge and it's the original logo coin. You swap it into that. You click exchange, and then it's gonna want you to enter the recipient address. Okay, where you want to send this. You're not going to send it to your wallet. You need to send it to the Doge bridge, the Dogecoin bridge. Okay, just type that Doge chain bridge. It'll be bridge.dogechain.dog, D-O-G. Okay, and then you hook up your MetaMask to that bridge, making sure that you installed the Doge chain RPC in your MetaMask, right? I think you could install it automatically on the Zen Network page. When you try to connect, it'll add it for you automatically. So you go to that bridge, you connect to the site, and there's a big green button. It says to generate the bridge address for you, the one that's specific for you in your MetaMask. That's what you copy and you paste it in the recipient window of changenow.io. That's where it'll send it. It'll cross the bridge and it'll land in your wallet.
Okay, got you. So you save one step instead of changing into Doge, and then having a Doge wallet, and then transferring it to the bridge, and
You don't do that. You
getting
don't
a
do the
Doge.
DC.
You
Yeah,
don't have to do that. Yeah.
you don't deal with the DC. You just get the Doge chain and you cross at the bridge and expect maybe 10, 15 minutes or so for it to cross over. But you'll get it. If you have experience, you'll see it. Everything kind of
Isn't
makes sense.
Doge a native coin on its own chain?
Yeah, it's no, but no, it's not. It's the Doge chain. Yeah, exactly. You're right. It's native on its own chain, so it's not on this new one, which is like the equivalent of
On
BSC.
EVM.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an EVM, exactly.
So
So you have
so are most of the people that have been holding Doge though are just holding the native coins, correct? Either in
well,
like a multi-chain wallet and they're holding, but it's essentially
yeah,
it's a native coin on a Doge chain.
yeah, on Doge chain, but a lot of them started getting into. I suspect of the original Doge players that started buying the Doge, the DC. But the weird thing is the DC isn't functional right now. I don't think, or maybe it is, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
the
it is.
it is okay. The wallet anyway isn't.
Listed
So you
both of
have
them.
no. Yeah,
You could
Dennison
hold
says
it
that they,
in Trust Wallet or Coinami Wallet or any of those multi-chain type wallets.
but regardless,
They just have
like
to they just have to bridge it over. Like you can wrap, the regular Doge and wrap it so that it's
yeah,
becomes a native token on the Doge chain, or you can use Doge chain as well.
yeah. So the one you're gonna get is the wrap Doge, the one that comes through the bridge. Oh, and do keep in mind, Ray, important. You need a minimum of 100 Doge to cross the bridge. It's the minimum amount. So it's basically $15. If you have like $15 on BNB, you'll be good.
Cool, all good. Thanks.
Okay.
Denizen, are you holding native Dogecoin?
I am. I just got some for the hell of it. I actually had it wrapped at first, and I decided to just try out the native DC And yeah, then just decided to just make it all DC. So
I think he's speaking of the Doge. I think maybe I'm mistaken. Are you talking about the EVM native? Or the
yeah, the natives for the Doji chain.
yeah. And Jack, I'm not sure. I had the impression he meant the native from the Doge, but actually I'm not sure. Maybe he meant on the new EVM.
Which
The
did
the
you?
coin on the Doge chain is DC, right?
No,
Yeah,
it's Doge.
it's DC. It's DC or. So here's the thing. It's totally confusing. The way they were doing this is they made it so that people could bridge over their native, like, what is it, Litecoin or whatever,
Yeah,
or
so Doge is
or a
just a
BS.
fork of Litecoin, and Litecoin was a fork of Bitcoin. So they each needed their own chain. So the native chain and the
And
the
then
coin on it,
like,
that's a coin.
right. Then
That's the
there's
difference
like
between a
BS,
coin and a token.
right. Then there's like BSC Doge that
That's the
runs
token.
on the B. Right, right. So you can bridge over any of those tokens and it'll just get wrapped to become a native coin on the Doge chain. So
Yeah, which is confusing
I know the wrapped Doge is interchangeable with the DC native coin.
because it's basically a synthetic of it. Because one is a coin, one is a token. And they say it's the native coin on the chain on the EVM, but on an EVM, it's actually the native token. A token is created by a smart contract. A coin is native to a blockchain.
So something like WETH and Ethereum, right?
Yes, exactly like that. It's just so even when Ethereum got created, the Ethereum was the native coin. It is the native coin on the main chain. And so you couldn't trade Ethereum against ERC20 tokens because it was a completely different thing. It was a coin, not a token. So they needed to make a wrapped version of Ethereum that like basically you locked up your native coin and you spit out a synthetic token. And that's what they're all doing. So what's confusing is that they're called the same thing and that the chains are called the same thing. That's why they're starting to bring distinction between, like, Binance calls their main chain the Beacon chain and their EVM the BS Smart chain, right? The Binance Smart chain. And Ethereum's now kind of go into that model too. Everyone's kind of distinguishing, but like even B&B, they're both called B&B. And people are confused. Like, I thought B&B was I thought I have B&B. Yeah, but you have the BEP20 version, the token, versus the BEP2 version, the coin, right? In Ethereum, it's the same thing. In Doge, it's the same thing. In fact, in Bitcoin, it's the same thing, right? You have Bitcoin, the native coin. You have wrapped Bitcoin. Well, that's the synthetic token.
What's even more confusing with this whole Doge fiasco is, I bridged some over, but couldn't tell because after I bridged it over and it was actually wrapped Doge, it just said Doge in my wallet. Even though I was on the Doge chain on my wallet, right? Switched networks and everything, it just said Doge. It didn't say DC or wrapped Doge or anything. But then after I after I exchanged the wrapped Doge for DC, now it's showing up as DC in my wallet, which is good. But there was a little confusion on my end with all of that because didn't make it clear. It didn't even make it clear on the Doge Block Explorer what I was holding.
That's why I say it's so critical for people to learn the basics. And one of those basics is the difference between a coin and a token. Because if you know that you're on an EVM network, you can't be holding a native coin. You have to be holding a token, right? And a lot of these networks are all going to name them exactly the same thing. And then when they name the network the same thing too, it's even more confusing, right? Because now you got Doge chain and Doge chain, and you got Doge and Doge. Well, what's the difference? One's an EVM, one's a native network. on the native network, you can only have a native coin. And on the EVM, you can only have a token. So you just have to know which environment you're playing in. And then it's, should be clear. I don't know. We got to come up with some kind of a universal naming conventions and stuff for this, because new people coming in, it's just like, what the, I got what? What's a BEP20? What's a BEP2? They don't understand these things, and it's really hard to get them to grasp it. But once you learn it on one, the nice thing is that the same knowledge just applies to everything. So the basics that I start everybody with is the difference between a wallet and an address, which I've kind of printed in here in type format. You can find it in the triggers, and then the difference between a coin and a token, and then the difference between mutable and immutable, which applies to smart contracts, which also applies to token contracts. So once you understand those kind of three distinctions between those things, and then you understand that people are going to interchangeably use those terms. So lots of people are calling addresses wallets, and lots of people are calling wallets addresses and accounts and all kinds of things, right? And same with coins and tokens. But if we can kind of establish a standard in the way we use the words, it becomes so much easier to teach people what you're trying to show them, right? It's like, no, that's not a token, that's a coin. Oh, okay, that makes sense, right? But when you just say, well, this one says Dogecoin and this one says Dogecoin, well, because you named it Dogecoin, right? Like, so you named a token Dogecoin. Well, that's going to be complicated, right? So I don't know. Anyway, that's my starting point always with people, is just teaching them those three distinctions: wallet and address, token and coin, mutable and immutable. Once you got that down, it's a lot easier to grasp everything else.
I've been in and out listening to this chat all day. I haven't heard all of it, but I think Doge is going to do really, really well. I think Zen is going to do really well on the DC chain, just as far as adoption goes. I mean, gosh, Doge has lasted for years, and it's still very popular for many, many people. What's your thought on that, Jack?
Even Litecoin didn't survive that well, did it? It's like, it's funny because Doge kind of got revived from, like, it was kind of a dead thing. And then a specific demographic of younger people decided, oh, we're going to revive this. We're going to make it a thing. And then Elon got behind them, and, they all got excited. So it's a thing now. A lot of the older networks that were like really hot in that day and time, like Dash as the master nodes, there's still people holding on to that thinking it's going to get revived. And I doubt it. Kind of a dead experiment, but if you're invested in it. So Doge, being as it was just kind of created to be a joke coin, it didn't really have any utility. It was just a token that, or a coin that, was created to kind of mimic or mock Bitcoin and Litecoin. Litecoin being the first big fork of Bitcoin, and they wanted to do things a little faster and make some of the changes that Bitcoin was having a problem with making, because they couldn't kind of reach community consensus. And since Litecoin was a smaller community, they could reach consensus faster and easier, and they could move. They were a little more nimble. And so then that kind of narrative spun out of Bitcoin's gold and Litecoin silver. And then Doge just said, like, this is all ridiculous. It's all just a joke. And the guy just spun up a fork of Litecoin to prove a point. And of all of them that have, come out from all of that, Doge somehow makes a revival. It's almost comical, right? Like the code's not really being backed up or worked on. It's just like there's not a lot of support structure behind Doge until recently. It was just kind of sitting there defunct. It's interesting. And I do think it is kind of a good match, because I think that that particular demographic that attracted Doge, Zen is offering them kind of a similar narrative, and
Absolutely.
they're all about it.
Yeah, I mean, imagine just like all the younger kiddos and stuff, right? They're gonna get more excited about getting involved with Zen on the Doge network versus any of the other ones, just because it's a meme coin network. It's like they're young kids. They'll get excited about it. And I just think it's ultimately great for new people getting involved, like the younger generations getting involved in crypto. Be a great start. Looks like it's overtaking Phantom today. It's
I
right
really
on the
didn't
heels.
see. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said it looks like it's overtaking Phantom. Go ahead with your thought there.
I didn't see Dogecoin coming. The adoption of Dogecoin as the next network to launch Zen on. I didn't see that coming at all. Kind of blindsided me. But looking back at it, I think it was pretty brilliant.
Absolutely. Of all the choices, I think it was a really great move. I mean, it just fits. It fits so well with Zen.
Yep, I agree. And I think that demographic will be very tuned to adopt. It's right up their alley. It's everything that they kind of wanted in Doge, whether or not they're getting it from Doge. I think this thing, it kind of, it also brings them into the broader crypto space, where they were kind of siloed. Wasn't it like Micro Center or Tiger Direct, one of the big online computer electronics retailer that first accept Doge?
Ooh, gosh, none of that rings a bell to me. I'm sure somebody in this chat it would. This I'm looking at this block explorer on the DC chain. It's just it's just all like crazy dog and Shiba coin tokens, and it's wild just looking at all this.
Yeah, they even have a .dog domain. That's amazing.
Yeah, this token here is called wowadojiponzi.com. Well, gosh, Jack, I wasn't long enough to hear you say earlier today that you hadn't heard anything about these new the newer NFTs. I thought you were so excited. You that's why you hadn't been on for a couple days. You were just too stoked about it and
No, I
couldn't keep
actually hadn't
yourself
heard
together.
until I didn't hear until Senzu came into the chat here and said it. I literally was oblivious. I didn't know I was off in the real world doing stuff. So, but I am excited about them.
Just
I think
completely
it's awesome.
spun everything around. It just changes everything so quickly. I know you guys have been talking about it all day. I'm not trying to reinvigorate that one, but I'm really excited about them myself.
I'm super excited. You can feel free to talk about it. I'm super stoked about all three of them. I will definitely be holding all three of them. I probably will not get anywhere near the 100 mint on the batch minter NFT, ZNFT. What are we going to call them? All ZNFTs? Are they all ZNFTs? I guess they all are ZNFTs, right? A batch ZNFT, POB ZNFT, and a stake ZNFT. I like the ZNFT. I think that's very clever. I think it's great marketing, super marketable.
Hey, are you there, Honey Deals?
I think it's worth mentioning to pay attention to the Maxi hex and the Deci hex charts, just to see the dynamics of that kind of tokenized NFT concept playing out, because they are really kind of first layer in that proof of concept, and they're really very early. I mean, launch was just like May 1st of this year on Maxi, and so kind of watching how these things have transpired is like I think a good front runner to what to expect in the derivative kind of markets of Zen. Would give us a really good idea.
So just remembered a gentleman on the price chat some time ago. I don't know, it was maybe a week or two ago. Challenged me to prove my belief in Zen and to burn Zen, and I said, "Oh, trust me, I will." It's just waiting for the opportunity.
See, I was ready to burn Zen already, but now I'm just going to hold off, and I'm going to wait for the NFT. I want the proof of burn on in the NFT form, but I'm definitely going to be burning some Zen into an NFT.
What's so cool about those too as well as the staking NFTs, I believe, it's not like limited, you know, it's not limited like the batchment NFTs are. So you could literally have 5 million, you know, an NFT representing 5 million burned or 50 million burned, as far as I know. The way I
Yep.
understand,
Yep.
could be wrong.
Doesn't make it. I don't think it'd make a damn bit of difference how many tokens. That's up to you. What I think is really cool about all these NFTs is they don't represent the sale of anything. Like they're just an extension of the Zen, which also didn't represent the sale of anything, right? They literally start from zero supply, just like Zen did. Like, you know, whoever wants to is free to create them using the Zen underlying them. And so it doesn't get any
Right.
more fair than that, right? There's no whitelist, there's no rush to get in the door at the opening bell. There's there's none of the insanity around them. They're
Yeah,
just,
and like
hey,
speaking of the rush thing too, these NFTs represent staked Zen. Like those don't like, yeah, you can let them run for 1,000 days, but you can let them run for 5,000 days if you want. You know, they won't be earning yield or anything for those last 4
no,
years or
that's
whatever.
true. That's true. But you'd miss out on opportunity cost of having those Zen to use for other things. But you're not penalized if, like, whatever, you get locked in jail for some reason, you know what I mean, and you're in jail thinking, oh my god, I gotta end these stakes, or I'm gonna lose everything. You're not getting bled out over time. There's no penalty for extending. You get sick,
Yeah,
you're in the
those,
hospital, whatever, you're in a
yeah,
coma,
I mean
you
those
come out of a coma, that stake's still sitting there waiting for you to end it.
yeah, they're just floating around. They're essentially burned Zen as well until you come in to mint them again, right? So yeah, it's really interesting.
The secondary markets seem to be moving kind of in lockstep on the Zen. They all seem to pump at the same time, dump at the same time. That's sort of telling, isn't it? Like, you're kind of starting to see that they're already equalizing to some degree. And we're
Oh
so
yeah,
early. Like,
just a slight delay with the overall market. Yeah.
what's Phantom on now? Day 5, day 6, day 5. No, day 6. 3.7 million. Let's look at Dogecoin. Day 3, 3.1 million. So, like, definitely adopting at the accelerated rate of Phantom.
Yeah, I think we're gonna overtake. I think
Oh, it's
Doge is
actually
gonna
almost twice.
Binance eventually.
It's almost twice the rate of Phantom. Wow, that's amazing. Because Phantom was like fast. I thought, I'll see what Polygon did. That's now about 14 days or something, isn't it? I got to be over 10 million. Oh yeah, 11 and a half, 21
A
days.
week or so.
Denizen,
Yeah, what's up?
Denizen, can I ask you a question about Doge chain, right? I thought chain, but when I go to
I'm
add the
sorry.
RPC,
Hey,
it says
Ray,
W Doge.
my phone went out for a sec. Could you start over, please?
Yeah, I thought that DC was the native coin of Doge chain, but when I go to add the RPC, it says W Doge.
Okay, that's the wrapped Yeah. Where are you getting that RPC? Is that the RPC off of the Zen site or somewhere else?
I got the RPC of the official Discord channel for Doge.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, either one will work for you if you want to mint Zen, but they are different. So you're looking at Wrap Doge, which is
So
interchangeable
which one is the
in the
native
DC.
coin? Which is the native coin?
Technically speaking, technically speaking, they both are right now, but in the white paper, they explain that they want to eventually only the DC coin will be the native coin. But for now, it is also the wrapped token. Confused. I know it confuses me too. It doesn't make sense, but somehow by bridging over, like for example, bridging over your B&B Doge and turning it into wrapped Doge, that turns into the native coin, and it's interchangeable with
What they're referring to, I think, is native to the native. It's really more accurately said native token, and it's native to the EVM, not native to the mainnet. Native to the
No,
EVM.
but it's all because of a little
because
twist
you can use it for transactions.
To put it simply,
Yeah, because it's the gas of the EVM, just like the Dogecoin is the gas on the mainnet. Dogecoin token is the gas on the EVM.
so Ray, to put this simply so you understand, okay, the DC is supposed to be the ultimate native one, but it wasn't ready initially. So they said, okay, so you guys can use the chain. We're going to use the wrap Doge until the DC is ready to launch as the official native one. So we're still in that initial phase here. And it Dennison tried it, the DC, the one that will be the ultimate native coin, and he says it works. I've heard people say in their telegram of Doge that it's not ready yet. It's weird. There's these discrepancies. When you go on the Doge official site, the DC wallet part is not ready yet. There's no deposit or withdraw buttons. It's coming soon. But the W Doge works 100% since the beginning. So if you see W Doge, it's good.
So one DC eventually, when it's ready, is going to be equal to one W Doge, correct?
Yes. If that's your concern, I mean, whatever the conversion, even if it wasn't, I mean, it's going to convert. The Doge, W Doge right now, it costs you like 0.001 W Doge to do a transaction. And a Doge is worth like, I don't know, 6 cents or something like that. So it's ridiculously cheap. You're getting 100 and some W Doge for $13, and you can do 100,000 wallets with that.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, just trying to clarify this stuff. This is confusing.
It is.
It might make it easier for you. I don't know what token you're initially starting with, but on that official Doge chain site, let me get on it real quick here. There is an option that they do have 3 other bridges, I believe, that you can use to transfer, for example.
Dennison, he's starting with B&B, not with 3 other coins, just B&B. He's starting with.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. You can use those bridges as you could do that on a different bridge as well. There's many options for you, is what I'm saying. Makes it very easy for you.
Got you. Thanks.
First question: where do you want to start? And then you can give the good options. Because otherwise it's, I mean, we spent, how much time do we spend figuring all the options? A couple of hours?
Yeah, it took me like 18. Because remember, I started with ETH. So I had to take a couple
I
extra
know what you
there.
wanted. You said, I want to make this the hardest I possibly can.
Yeah, well, that was a joke. That's just how I did it.
Yeah.
So what, Honeytails, when you do the, when
I
you,
wanted to do the change now route, but I wasn't connecting to my wallet, so I went to different route, the long way.
when you do the bridge integrated into the change now, what address do you give as the receiving address?
The bridge. But before getting the address from the bridge, you have to connect to it with your MetaMask. So it gives you one that is directly going to bridge to your MetaMask.
And what's the bridge address?
Bridge dot Doge chain dot dog.
And by connecting to the bridge with your MetaMask,
You click the green button. Yeah, the big button is
that
going to turn into an address.
that generates an address.
Yeah, specific to you. An address that starts with the letter D.
The deposit address.
The bridge. Yeah. Specific to your MetaMask.
Oh, you got to sign the message first.
Yeah, the bridge.
Oh,
You have
hello.
to connect with the bridge. Yep. You sign it, and then you'll be able to get the green button will activate and give you an address. You copy that and you put in the change now recipient. Make
Are
sure
you still there, right?
So that the D address that starts there on that bridge is like specific to, like, it's linked. That's a bridge address linked to your MetaMask address.
Exactly. That's why you connect
So
it.
so when you go to change now and send to do the transfer, and you put that in as the address, they actually land in the associated MetaMask.
Exactly.
Well, that's pretty clever.
Yeah. Just make sure you choose the Doge, because there's like a few Doge there, but it's just DOGE, and it's the brownish coin on change now.
I wonder, I should try this. I wonder, let me, I wonder if you could send it to change now. I don't see why you couldn't, directly from the secret network bridge contract.
And send it to change now.
Yeah.
So what's the route you're trying to do? What route are you trying to do?
So what I'm saying is you would bridge from secret network B&B to directly to the changenow.io, and you give it the Doge bridge address that's linked to your MetaMask address as the receive address.
Right.
And
you'd
you've
use the link, like you just kind of
yeah,
use.
you like broken every link between any address and the one that you've received it to.
I mean,
you need at least 100 of them. So
100, yeah. For the bridge, that's just for the recipient. So you could see, I mean, theoretically, I mean, I could send you the hash if you wanted to
We
check.
got a minimum on change now of 0.13 something one. No amount. 0.14. Well, that's only 18 Doge. Okay, so what is it? 0.5?
Ah,
0.05?
It's about
Yeah,
0.5
about
or
point,
0.6.
about, about
I think
right now.
0.06 is how much?
Right now, 0.05 gets you 104.
Okay. Guess it pumped a
And
little
what's
bit.
the cost going through? What's the cost going through the Doge bridge? There's no cost.
It's minimal one, I think 1.5 Doge, I think.
It takes it out in Doge.
Yeah, it'll be a little less. Like if you have 105, you'll probably get like 103.67, something like that.
Hey, question. Is that chain listed on the chain.io, please? On chainlist.io?
Yeah,
Oh,
chainless data.
I think so. Yeah.
oh, because I added from there in my MetaMask, but it says on the Telegram, right? I see you guys say it is the native token. It's supposed to be W Dodge, right? But on mine, I see only Dodge.
Yeah. It's
That's
fine.
okay.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
okay,
just,
okay.
it's an optional entry in the chain ID, right? So you could actually write what you want. They chose to write just Doge instead of W Doge.
Okay. I just want to know I have the right thing. Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
Hey, Honey Deals, did you get that message I sent you a while back?
Yes, I did. So I wasn't sure what that was about, to be honest. I was like looking at it, but I mean, I get what it is, but that
Well,
has
it's
already been,
basically about
I,
me. It's about
I,
me not being able to do anything, but trying to give people the easiest route to uh
right,
to adjust the white paper in a different language. Trusted individuals, obviously.
right. So that's like, so yeah, it's an API. We already had that for Zenpedia, actually. Um, I think it's Claire that set it up, or we're setting it
That's
up.
news to me.
Yeah. So yeah, it was already at least partially functional. Like you could change to French. But when I tested it out, it was only doing it for the first page. For some reason, when you went to the second page, it would revert back to English. That was for the Zenpedia. For the white paper, that's where we wanted to kind of like revise them to make sure before publishing them that they're revised by a real human. But for the Zenpedia,
I
that's
just
what,
figured this would be the easiest way because, you know, obviously Google is so prevalent. You can literally just, you don't need any special anything. It all just gets translated for you. And if you speak the native language and you're a trusted community member, you can edit that document, right?
right. Well, like, yeah, like it's an API. I mean, you can, same as Google, right? It's like you can copy paste in Google. So it's like basically it's the same thing as Google, right? Because it's it's plugged
It's
in.
Google Translate, but what's cool about it is it retains the original document, the original document's format. It's the same document. It'll
Right.
just
But
be in
how
a
do you
different language.
use it for translating?
As it says in the instructions, it literally translates it through Google Translate, and
So
then you can also edit it if you want.
so okay. Because what
Nobody
I
like rewrite it, you know, if it
no
doesn't require to be rewritten, but some stuff will need to be tweaked, I'm sure.
right, but is there a way to actually translate it? Because all I see is something in English, and there's no. In the other one, there was a drop down menu. The one that Claire started to set up had a drop down menu, and you could pick a language, and it would translate the
Yeah,
page in the same.
yeah, yes.
Why? Why
Just
am I not seeing?
if you walk through the instructions,
I'll find it.
oh gosh.
Okay. Okay. On top right.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you walk yourself through the instructions, it's like totally self-explanatory.
Okay. Pop out.
I mean, obviously, like I can, like this is the best I can do. Like if I could actually translate the white paper for for 20 different languages, I would be all over it. But you know, I'm just accepting what I can do, and I just thought this might be the easiest way for people to just,
Right.
you know, a
Right.
couple clicks of a button and they're on top of it. It's the same format.
Right. Right.
All the,
Okay.
you know,
I guess if the language actually works, that'll be good. I'm trying to figure it out here, the top right pop up, but I'm not seeing it yet. But if you say so, I'll find it.
yeah, the only way I could do it like this is it literally needs to be accessed through the Zenpedia white paper.
Did you do this on computer? Because I'm on tablet. It might be different.
Yeah, on a computer. So you'll see on the white paper, if you like hover on the white paper, there's
Yeah.
a little icon on the top right,
Oh, it just appeared.
and
Yes, it
you
just appeared.
click on that,
Yeah.
right? And it'll open it up in a different format, in a PDF, I believe.
Yeah, very nice format. Yeah, beautiful. Okay.
And then you just click on open with Google Docs.
Okay.
Open it up in an editable format, and then you select tools, translate document into whatever language that Google Translate offers, which is a ridiculous amount. And then you can edit
Okay.
it from there if it doesn't read correctly.
Okay, let me check. Okay, so I clicked on edit with Google Docs, use the app. Now I'm going to try to find anything related with language.
Just under the little tools tab, you know, it just says tools, and then you'll have the option that says translate document.
Did you go, because it asked me right away if I want to use the app, and I said, yes, I'll use the app. And then it opened it up, but now instead of having a white background, it has a black background. Is that normal? Is that
I don't, oh, like the Google Docs app or something?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it asked me, and I said, okay, use the app. I figured that's why that was the editor or something. So now I could like type stuff, but it's a black background.
So up on the toolbar on the Google Docs app,
Yeah,
there's a tool, you'll see tools. Just click
yeah.
on there and select translate.
That's where I don't see it. I might be. Is it a little icon, or is it really? Because in the menu, there's no translate. There's spell check. There's find.
Just like on a regular Word document, you have your like home and insert and tools and format, that
Right,
toolbar.
right. Yeah. I'm
There
not
should be
getting
something
that.
that says tools on there.
Yeah. Okay. What's the difference between computer and mobile? So, but it must be there.
Yeah, I walked myself through it a couple times. I hope I wrote down the instructions correctly.
And then replace word count. So this is cool. I could definitely select like very well one sentence or one paragraph. Then I have copy, select all, or add comment, but unfortunately not yet any translation options. I'm hoping to find it somewhere hidden.
All right, I'm gonna walk myself through these instructions I sent you one more time and make sure you did it right.
I'm guessing you did, and it's just because I'm on a tablet here that it's different. It's typically the case.
Hector, your camera's on.
Well done, guys.
Hey. Nope. Who is this?
Any of you guys ever sent change.now.io the wrong amount? Does it just like not accept the transaction and kick it back?
No. Are you worrying because it's taking time?
Yeah, it's not completing, but I did an error on my send.
In what sense?
Sent them.
It would
I sent
under
them too
100?
much. No, I sent them too much.
You can't send them too much. What do you mean? To the bridge?
Well,
From changing?
no, I
to the
mean I
bridge?
sent change.now.io too much, and it's not completing. So I'm thinking they're just like timing it out, kicking it back. Like it'll only accept the exact amount. I've never sent them too much. Never sent them not enough either. So
Wait a second, Jack. Wait, are you using like the secret bridge here? What is?
no, I just sent them from a B&B address. I'm just
Why
saying I
are
just sent them I sent them too much. I didn't get the decibel in the right place.
But it would have normally been from memory. It was automatic. So you click exchange once on the first page. You set your coins, right? You click exchange.
Oh yeah, I got all that. I got all the
Oh.
addresses, and then I went to send them the B&B I had agreed to, and I put the decibel place in the wrong place and sent them too much, and it's not going through.
Yeah, but this is the part I don't understand. That that we agreed to, when I clicked on next the second time, as far as I remember, my MetaMask opened automatically with the proper amount.
I never
just,
do it like that where the MetaMask is connected to Change Now.
okay. So
I don't
what?
do it that way.
Okay, so it quoted you something. It just
Yep,
says
just quotes you and tells you where to send it to, an address to send it to, and it doesn't care where you send it from. So I just go to where the tokens are at and I send it to that address.
okay, yeah, okay. I've done that when it asked me, but it didn't ask me. So I guess you're bypassing something. So
Yeah, well, I
so
just don't. I didn't connect my wallet address to the DApp, the Change Now
right. Okay.
DApp, because you don't need to, and I don't want to do it any more than I have to. I
Right.
just wondered if anybody'd ever sent them too much and what happened. I'm not really concerned one way or the other, but I don't think it's going to go through. I actually think it kicks them back,
Okay. Could be.
which is just like I have to wait like 5 minutes or something for it to happen. Because it appears to be timing out. Like on my end, the transaction looks like it went through. On their end, it's like it's in the awaiting deposit, right? Where normally once it's confirmed on my side, it goes into the confirming mode, and then it does the exchanging, and then it starts to do the send. This thing's like hung up on awaiting deposit, and so I think it's because it's the wrong amount. Like it's literally programmed to only receive the exact right amount. Everything else gets rejected and returned.
Could be. I mean, I've done this, but I've always put the right amount. Now with Change Now, but with
Yeah.
others like Finance, I've always put the
Ideally,
right
that's
amount.
the way to do it, right? Like put the right amount. But
Right.
I fucked up and did it wrong. They're small amounts, so it's not really a big deal one way or the other. It'll be interesting to learn how they deal with that situation anyway. So
Yeah, well, you'll see it, right? You'll see it.
I figure I'll either get way more of what I'm requesting, or they'll kick it back.
Right.
And from what I'm seeing so far, it looks like it's going to be kicked back. I'll tell you in less than 4 minutes. So I'm the only one that's ever made that mistake. I'm feeling special.
What about you, Ray? Were you able to bridge over successfully?
Oh, I'm just started the bridge listing. I was just looking at some other stuff and got distracted.
All right, cool. Yeah,
I'll
there's
tell you if any
on that
problems.
dogechain.dog, there's also other bridges available. I use the one called multi-chain, I believe. I bridged over directly from BNB Doge to the native DC.
Oh, okay. So
It's
yeah, since I don't
multi-chain
have
changed
BNB
their name,
Doge,
didn't it?
what is the fewest hops? I don't have BNB Doge, but I have BNB or ETH. I guess the fewest hops would be to use change now, bridge to Doge, native Doge, and then the native Doge to the bridge, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like what Honeydeal's advice is probably the best. If you can use change now, I'd just send it directly to the Doge chain bridge instead of using an alternative one. I'm
Oh,
just letting you
multi-chain,
know
that's the old
there's
any
options.
swap.
Like I had to use it because for whatever reason I couldn't use change now. So first I went to Sushi Swap and utilized Sushi X Swap, which utilizes the what bridge is that? It's the bridge that everybody talks about on here every 5 minutes, and I can't think of it. And then I had to jump over to Pancake Swap, and then I went to the multi-chain bridge. So I had to do 2 bridges in 1 swap.
And how much is the minimum I should do on the change now? 15 Doge, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the native Doge chain bridge, you need to deposit a minimum of 100 Doge. So keep that in mind.
So Denison, do you remember specifically what the translator was? Right, it was Google, obviously, because it is Google Docs. So what I did,
Yeah, it uses Google.
yeah. So I thought I figured it out, but it's not working still. So when I click, I'm in the document editor, and I click on the 3 little dots. Then a whole bunch of options appear, like spell check, page setup, word count, but no file edit, like you said. But there's one that's add-ons, and then it says do more with docs, and you can get add-ons. And it brings you to the Play Store ultimately. And I installed Google Translate, thinking that would solve the issue, but seemingly not. It's not like
Yeah,
recognizing.
there's something else that's going on. Because you can access that Google Translate just on the web. You got it. Like I couldn't do it any other way than what I've found in the
Right.
instructions that I sent. Like you literally need to access it through the Zenpedia and then open it with Google Docs.
Yeah. I'll backtrack. I'll try it again. But does that ring a bell? The thing I said about the white background turns black when you go into edit mode, or did you not
No,
have that?
mine is white. I don't know
Okay.
why. You might have just some sort of setting on there. I know I have a black background on my Word documents that I use. So
Okay. Yeah. No. But anyway, yeah, it's white at first. It's very nice. It's PDF format, Crypto, but that part's not editable. So then I go to the next part, which is open with Google Docs, right? Yeah, just open with Google Docs. And then when I click open with Google Docs, it reloads it. Oh, yeah. It's white initially, but I couldn't edit or anything, and I have to use the app. Edit with the Docs app. So I'm like, okay.
that'd be something you need to download then, I guess. I must have already had it on my computer.
No, then it works. It says use the Google Doc apps. I click on that, and that's where it all turns black. And that's where I could put my cursor and edit text, and my keyboard appears on my screen.
Oh, okay. It might, yeah, I'm sure it's just some like eye reliever thing that's going on there. If you can read all the text thing.
Yeah, it's kind of nice actually. Just annoying that the translate is not being offered. on top, what I have is not file. It doesn't say anything like that. On top, there's a menu appears in it. I have the, like, to put the text in bold, italic, underscore. I have the alignment of the paragraphs, undo, redo, those kind of icons, but nothing that's mentioning translate.
That's
And
odd. Mine, it reads, you know, file, edit, view, insert, format, tools,
right,
extensions, and help, right?
extensions and help. Yeah, yeah,
So I
no,
click
yeah.
on tools.
Uh-huh.
Do you have the tool on
I
yours?
do, I do not. When I open the menu, the only
Yeah.
menu is on the 3 dots. What I have is view and light theme, print layout, document outline, find and replace, explore, spell check, page setup, word count, share and export, add-ons, move, a few more, and help and feedback, but none of the what you mentioned. You seem to
Are
have
you
the
on a desktop or still on your tablet?
no, I'm still on my tablet. That's the thing. I'm trying to get it to work on my tablet. I mean, and on my tablet, it's just so much more conducive to than going to sit at the desk. But yeah, you probably have the big on the computer. It's typically like that. It's the better. But I'll try to figure it out. Maybe I have to add on a
Yeah, if
specific.
you have time, try to. I would like to know if it works on a desktop anyway. So I mean, we'll
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
it out. But
I'll check it on the desktop. Yeah.
I mean, you can even edit like yeah, you can edit everything on here. It's great. Keeps the same format. It's beautiful.
Right. It looks cool. Yeah, that would definitely work. Especially like can I just like pick one paragraph and just like translate it on the spot, that one paragraph? Or it does the whole thing basically. It doesn't
I don't
matter.
know about that. You might be. I could try here just a minute. Let's see. Translate. Yeah, I don't know about that, but you can definitely just, for me on my end, I can just click on tools, go down to translate document. I can change the title of the document if I want. So, you know, translated copy of Zen Crypto
And it does the whole thing.
French, you know, and then I can choose my language and it has, you know, it probably has at least 40 or 50 different languages on here. So
Nice. And it does the whole thing basically in one swoop.
it just does it immediately. So I can translate into, let's see, Arabic, translate. And
Right.
just takes a minute and pops it right out of there. Now it's
Maybe
all in
just
Arabic.
one little thing. When you click on the one that you sent me, okay, and you go into edit mode, when you get at the part which is Zen Light Paper version 1.7, is there a way to increase rewards? Okay, it's not so far down. And then all of a sudden there's all these weird characters with question marks in them. Do you
On
see that?
the white paper itself,
Yeah.
on the Zenpedia, what page of it?
The first, well, I'd say it's near, no, not the first, but if you scroll downwards, you get to 1.7. Let me see if I can tell. 3 of 15. It's past page 3. Okay, I'd say around page 3 to page 4. Page 4. Okay, at the middle
Yeah,
bottom of the page 4.
completely normal to me.
Is there a way to increase rewards? And then there seems to be maybe an equation there. Is that an equation? Because I see equals and equal signs and
Yeah,
parentheses.
let me
And
look on the other document. Oh, you're talking about on the translate document. Is that what you're talking about?
well, it's English.
Oh, okay. Yep, I see what you're saying. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about in my original messages. Like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm probably gonna need these pictures that are inserted in the document.
Okay, so it's just a picture. Okay, fine. I was wondering what that was. Okay. Yeah, this is, yeah, there's quite a bit of work here, so it's not so, yeah, to replace all those things.
I mean, all it really is having, you know, Zensu or whoever is able to do it.
Yeah, no, but it's just a question
Send
of
over.
doing it.
It's just literally just sending over the file of that picture, and you can just paste it right in there. I would think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, this actually, gosh, there's like several. Let me see. I'm on page 5. So yeah, there's a lot of missing info here. It's all the yeah, it's just it's just the pictures and stuff.
Yeah, that needs to be patched up, fixed up, cleaned up.
Seems like this mathematical formula should remain in there, but it's not for some reason, because this appears to be just typed in.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because some symbols are intact, some words, but then those question mark things, I don't know what they are. They're numbers, I guess, because there's no numbers.
Yeah, it's the formula and that photo of the just kind of visualizing how the formula works, right? On page what is it, page 6. It's explaining all of it in like a visual format, from the delta to the amp to the reward amplifier and all of it. That should be easy enough, though. We might just need
Yeah.
someone to
I
send
mean,
something over.
yeah, it's just a question of doing it. I mean, everything is kind of laborious in these, reformatting, making things nice and all that. Have to do it,
Yeah, and this
one thing at a time.
though should make it pretty darn easy, in my opinion, because you're not trying to like duplicate like how it looks to make it look nice, and it looks like the legitimate white paper, but
Yeah,
in a
much
different
easier,
language.
much easier. But still, I mean, if you're going to do this in 20 languages, I mean, this is, it's, you have to, because you have to translate it as well, fix everything, and then patch up this stuff. So it's going to take a little amount of time.
Yeah, some of this other stuff is probably those charts.
Yeah, there's a couple of charts that are missing, but that also could be found. Some
Yeah.
images, the image is fine. The diagram image is fine. But then there's these charts that kind of move. It's like weird. It's like they're Excel charts, and those ones, the numbers are okay. They move in there, so it's kind of fancy the way it's set up. There's different kind of objects.
Well, yeah, it's probably math magician Jack Levin who typed this up himself, huh?
Yeah, he probably inserted like little tables and stuff to put numbers on the go. So it's different type of objects that our software is having to recognize and align. Like if he did it, for example, in Adobe in PDF format, he would have a set of tools and everything is congruent because it's all, coming from the same software. But then when you do the conversion like this in Google Docs, it might not come out exactly the same.
Well, I could tell you that he did it on a Mac version 12.4 PDF producer.
There you go.
So anybody with a Mac 12.4 out there, raise your hand, please.
Yeah, that probably works like a charm for that kind of document.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, what it boils down to is I wish I could do more, but I mean, it's just got to accept what I'm capable of doing and what I'm not and go from there. So, yeah.
Jack, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bridge is just very slow.
No, I messed up and it timed out, and they apparently will either kick it back or whatever. You just have to, it brings up a screen, tells you that your funds are safe, and you just need to contact them and basically tell them what to do.